that is the great mark on Farhan Zaidi. He inherited a team that did not have a lot to trade. The system was very frustrated by that, and he left a team that for Buster Posey does not have a lot to trade from. Just doesn't. That's not great management. I don't know. I think they made their moves. Maybe I'm talking myself into a column that nobody's going to like, but Adames was a big contract. Chapman was a big contract. Devers is a big contract. So yeah, the Giants, I don't know. It's almost the opposite. They've got needs. I don't know if they got enough to, like, should they tap into their system even more after giving up what they gave up to get Devers? Rafael Devers is a huge trade. It's not like it doesn't exist. It happened in this calendar year, in this season, and so your amount of being able to do more is limited. You've given up Harrison and Tibbs, and there is not, like, I don't think there's a lot out there that they want to trade from. If they got a good prospect that another team wants, I mean, they could use another starter, right? Their rotation has been so good. You knew that at some point it was going to have a little stagger. It's had a massive stagger recently. Now they kind of set the course back with a solid Verlander start and Atlanta Roop start, and they scored a lot of runs. It does solve a lot if you score 8 runs, Dylan. I know you're slightly familiar with that with the Dodgers. It just solves a lot of things. And they had not been doing that, and maybe they should have a better record after their pitching was so good for so long, but their offense just wasn't doing anything. Maybe the offense will perk up Willie Adames. Devers hit a couple home runs. Like, you figure they're going to be slightly better, or maybe a lot better offensively. But if the pitching goes down, I just don't know what they've got to trade. Maybe they can pick up somebody who's on the last year of his contract, kind of a rental, don't have to pay that much. I just don't know what they have to give up. I would not give up Bryce Eldridge, their number 1 prospect, who's just coming back from injury in the minor leagues. And beyond that, that is the great, mark on Farhan Zaidi. He inherited a team that did not have a lot to trade. The system was very frustrated by that, and he left a team that for Buster Posey does not have a lot to trade from. It just doesn't. And that's not great management. So I hate to say they're not going to make a move, because of the minute I say that, that's one thing I've kind of hesitated writing it, because you never know. They can pull somebody out that another team loves, but I think they got a lot of things they need to fill, but almost too many to try to plug it in. Devers was their big move. That was mostly a money move and a prospect move. God, I don't think you want to, commit another $30 million a year to somebody. So I don't know. I think they made their moves, and I think maybe I'm talking myself into a column that nobody's going to like, but Adames was a big contract. Chapman was a big contract. Devers is a big contract. They got the pitching that they got. For them to make a massive improvement, to get somewhere near the Dodgers, I think it's going to cost too much. I just do. And, I think they can hang in there with the Padres. They just got to stay with the Padres. That other teams might jump ahead of them in that wild card race. I do believe the second team in the NL West will get into the playoffs. It might be a little shaky given, the Phillies and all the teams in the East are playing very well. And also the Cubs and these other Brewers, like, there's other good teams. But if they can just stay ahead of the Padres, and I think they can, we'll see. I think maybe you don't make this big dramatic move. The Dodgers can do it because the Dodgers have depth in the farm system. The Dodgers can just do about anything. Giants don't have that. But then, just I say that, who knows? Posey might pull something out. I think he would like to do something. I do think he'd like to do something. I just don't know what's out there to be done, other than maybe some 32-year-old starter who is pitched okay, not great. It's not going to cost you a ton, but even that costs you, Dylan. Like, Charlie Morton is going to cost somebody something when he moves, and that's a 39-year-old starter, whatever he is. Like, this is very, very expensive time to shop. This is the playoffs. You're setting up. I just don't know the Giants can do that. We shall see. I expect the Padres to do something. I expect the Dodgers to do something. We'll see if the Giants feel the need to match that energy. I just don't know how they can do it.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because I do think, under Posey, right? And I think I've mentioned this before, but before the team itself kind of starts forming its identity, the identity does get formed by the top and the leadership, and right now the Giants do kind of have this feel, I think, around baseball, like, hey, they're going for it, right? And, you saw when the Padres ownership decided to start investing there, how much that changed kind of the culture of that organization. So I'm sure Buster Posey, like you said, wants to do something. At the same time, realistically, okay, yeah, they get in. That's great. You can kind of add to that. But, realistically, how far are you going to go? Like you said, this is the most expensive time of the year to shop, right? The Dodgers are very cognizant of that, which ironically is why, they went out and signed all these guys that didn't work out. But that was why they were aggressive in the offseason, was that, Friedman didn't want to have to shop at this time of the year. And so, now that said, like when you look at the Giants situation, and given that the Dodgers are probably not going to be big spenders over the winter, given everything that they already have, this could be an opportunity for the Giants to kind of like, okay, let's kind of hold on to what we have right now. And, because, right, the world's not going to end after this season.
Yep.
And you have a young, GM here or president of baseball ops, whatever, and he's going to have a chance to kind of build this thing out. And right now, I think, the Devers thing presented itself during the season, and they took advantage of that. I do think also, too, the fact that, like, Posey's probably not as big a platoon guy, right, as Farhan is.
Definitely
right? Because that's the thing, right, is I think when you have a team like that, you have to be like the Dodgers, where it's like, okay, you're gonna have a chance to get yourself a ring, And right now, the Giants are probably a little bit, further from that. And so to sell, and that's a great selling point. Like, you can go to a free agent now and say, like, hey, you know what? Like, hey, the Dodgers, you might only play, half the time. We can give you like a full-time spot. I'm thinking that's going to be like appealing to like a lot of guys. So maybe the winter is the best time for them to kind of, scale their team up, so to speak.
I think so. Yeah. I think one of the things you touched on is like any move the Giants make is hard to see them as a World Series threat. Like almost any move. Devers was going to be the biggest one, and it didn't. To this point, make you think that they're a World Series, likelihood. So if you can't do that, if you've got three things you need to fix, and you only can fix one of them, and it's going to cost you a ton, maybe you do lay out, and again, you make your big move. The Warriors made their big move for Jimmy Butler, and it's kind of like, yeah, they're going in the offseason saying, what do you expect us to do? We just traded like half our team to get Jimmy Butler and gave him a $112 million deal. Like, this is the move. And the Giants made the move for Devers. I think there is a cycle to this, and maybe their next move becomes in the offseason. We shall see. Again, just saying this means there's going to be a move coming, and everyone goes, it's easy, you're wrong, you idiots, you're wrong. But I just don't see where it is, and I see them like the structure of this team is relatively set up, and I don't feel like an Posey, he kind of hinted the Devers trade, and I am quite happy he did it to me. And I think just like recently he's not really been hitting big moves. Maybe like waiting for a team to fall out in the next few days, or think it fell out and then make the move then. Like, you just don't know what's available. You don't know, or I can't think of exactly the team. It would be the Diamondbacks, but the Diamondbacks aren't going to trade with Giants. So like that kind of team drops out, the Rangers, or I don't know. I'm just trying to think of the team kind of semi on the borderline that may or may not be. And although I think the Rangers are going to keep going. So we'll see. It's just this spot where I just don't think it's the opportune time for the Giants to make some dramatic move just to be dramatic.